Hey there, business owner. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Evolution Podcast. This is our weekly episode, and I'm so happy you are here. Let's get started. Hi there, entrepreneur. Welcome to this week's Entrepreneur Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Annette Walter. I'm a business coach, operations strategist, and owner of two multi-million-dollar companies. And this is the place where you will feel surrounded by entrepreneurs just like you. Entrepreneurs that are growing, scaling, and thriving in their business, but at the same time being real and honest with their challenges and struggles in their business. They're sharing stories of what they're doing right now to seek opportunities, to learn, to grow, and sharing stories of wisdom and experience. Today, I am joined by Jordann Amatea. She is the founder of Base Culture. Base Culture is a healthy baked and bread company. And basically, she founded the company after doing a 30-day paleo challenge at her local gym. It became a lifestyle choice for her and something that she just simply felt amazing about. And now you can find her product in stores across the United States, including Whole Foods, Albertsons, Sprouts, and Fresh Market. You will really enjoy her story. We have an honest, real conversation, and you will hear how she grew into her manufacturing facility and really landed that shelf space and the tireless work that she put into growing this brand. I am really excited to share this interview with you today. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you liked about this episode. I want to know what you learned. I love hearing all of the side comments and just knowing that you are really gaining so many gold nuggets is what keeps this going and just makes me want to really find other entrepreneurs out there that will help you learn and help you grow on your journey. So if you know of any great people that you'd like me to interview, please let me know. I'll be sure to invite them onto the podcast. And as always, if you hit subscribe, you will automatically be notified when an episode drops. We drop an interview with an entrepreneur on Tuesdays and an Entrepreneur Express tip, which is a business tip in 5 minutes or less on Fridays. Thank you for all the 5-star ratings and the reviews. Also, all of you have been doing such an amazing job of scheduling that 2021 empowerment call, which is a brain dump and mini plan for you and your business. If you haven't had the chance to do that, I really, really recommend you do that. I do have some limited spaces left. And a lot of you have been asking me about our Entrepreneur Evolution Empowerment Group. Just send me a little note if you'd like to learn more about that at yourock@IEvolveConsulting.com. Enjoy this episode. Here is Jordann. Keep evolving, entrepreneur. I am so, so proud of you.
Welcome, Jordann. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I am so great. I am really, really happy that you are here. It's been years since we've been together.
Yes.
Not only because of, I guess, COVID, but just travel schedules and growing families and growing businesses and everything. So welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I love your backdrop today.
True authentic self. Here we are.
I know. It's like this is where we hide, right? We hide in our closets.
Absolutely. It's the one place I know that will be quiet consistently for the next hour. So it's a safe place.
Well, congratulations on the new baby. How old now?
Thank you. She's 3 months, 3.5 months, and she's doing so well. And her older sister loves her so much. It's really fun.
Sweet, so sweet. So we are joined today with Jordann Amatea, and she is the founder of Base Culture, a healthy baked goods and snacks company that I really, I remember when you were scratching out the brand and like kind of sketching out the brand and repositioning colors and doing all of this amazing stuff. And now today is it beyond your wildest dreams?
Oh man, like I honestly, when I started this company, I didn't even think it was going to be a company. So considering where we are today, it's far beyond what I could have ever imagined. And it continues to grow, which is exciting and, terrifying and wonderful all at the same time.
Absolutely.
But it's evolved and transformed in so many ways over the last couple of years that it's been a wonderful journey to be a part of.
Awesome. Well, and you made it happen, girl. So let's rewind. Let's give everybody the backdrop.
Sure.
Walk us back to, where you were, how the idea started, and pave that path for us.
Sure. So I started this company when I had graduated from college and I moved to Tampa and joined a CrossFit gym. And they were doing a paleo challenge when I joined. And so I figured, the best way to get involved and meet people is to participate in whatever activities they're doing. So I didn't even know what paleo was at the time, but jumped in and did this 30-day challenge of eating meat, vegetables, seeds, and nuts and fruit, and found that I really felt better. It wasn't about losing weight for me. It wasn't about body image or anything like that. It was truly the fact that I slept better. I had more energy. I didn't have these highs and lows evolving through the day. It was just a constant level of energy. And I loved it and I felt better. And so I thought, well, let's, continue to do this. Let's see what happens if I do another 30 days. And I saw the same benefits only amplify. And from there, I was like, well, I do really like this. Now it's been 60 days. This is kind of evolving into my way of life, but I have a big sweet tooth and I'm craving bread. And how do I fix that so I don't jump off the bandwagon and, totally just abort all the efforts that I've been contributing towards this? And so with that, I tried to buy products in the grocery store, but they didn't exist. And this was about 9 years ago.
Okay, so that's a date stamp of what? What?
2012.
Okay, thank you. I didn't do that math in my head that quick.
No worries. I've got like a couple dates that are just like, the turning points in my head, but it feels like 30 years ago.
Right? Doesn't it?
Totally. So, yeah, that was in 2012 when I graduated and did this challenge. And then it was about 6 months after that where I was like, if I'm going to continue down this road, I need to make these products for myself. And that's what I did. And I started working in the kitchen, and I wasn't trained in baking or culinary. I went to school with a public relations major, and my goal was to be an event planner. And well, I plan a lot of events now, but not in the same way I thought I was going to. And so it took me about 6 months to figure out how to make the products that I wanted, which were brownies. So I had something at night and a banana bread in the morning because I didn't want to wake up and make breakfast. So I just wanted to grab something and run out the door to my day job. And so I did that, and it was great. And that's truly where I really was planning on stopping. However, the gym that I joined was doing another challenge at that time. I brought the products that I created to them, and they said, wow, this is amazing. It's convenient. It's delicious. It follows this paleo lifestyle. I'll pay you if you make some for me. I know. I was like, great, just graduated, need some extra cash. Let's do that. I'm going to make it anyway. I'll just make more. No big deal. And I think like famous last words. And so,
I gotcha.
yeah, absolutely. From there, I started like putting orders and just posting on Facebook when I was going to be making things, and people would then place their orders on my posts, and then I would deliver it on the weekends. And so that was kind of the next step, that just word of mouth and grassroots marketing started taking what is now base culture, and did that for another 6 months or so. And at that point, I had some unexpected news coverage that was supposed to air in Tampa. However, it aired all over the country. And yeah, it was like mind blowing, like, holy bananas. How do I do this? And so I was just operating out of my kitchen under the cottage food law. And under that law, you can't sell over the internet. I'm sorry, not over the internet. You can't distribute any way other than just hand delivering products. So you can't ship it,
Okay.
and then you can't sell to retail.
Okay.
And so those constraints, are just around food safety and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to really take that next step, I had to figure out, well, I got to get out of my kitchen. I got to go somewhere and make this. So I found some small commercial space, and I started renting just time there that I had the certifications then that I could sell to the retail stores and ship to customers all over the country. And kind of like the bridge point in between those two time periods was really the point in time where I had shift in my mindset to, is this a hobby or a business? Do I really need to decide
Yeah.
what I want out of this and what I'll be happy with and where I think my future will lead to? Had no idea that it would be this hard or that it would cost this much money or take this much time. Like, you never know.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think a lot of what I would have called back then downfalls or maybe weaknesses was a lack of knowledge about this industry. Now looking back, it was probably a strength, because I think if I knew back then what I know now, it wouldn't have happened. And I think there's a certain amount of just not necessarily embracing all of the details of the future is a good thing, because I think fear takes hold of a lot of people, myself included, on many occasions. And if you know what is ahead of you, it's sometimes limiting in a lot of ways. And
Absolutely.
I think that was really, a good thing looking back. Now, it's been a challenge, of course. And I think, if I knew what I knew now, I would have not made as many mistakes, but you learn and you grow, and it's good.
Absolutely. Well, I remember seeing that look in your eye, and it was, I don't know, was that 2015 maybe that we met at Tuck?
I think so. Yeah.
It feels like I could probably base it around, I guess, the age of my kids. They were probably right where your kids are now when I was going through Tuck, but it was
right.
But I remember you had a huge confidence about you, and you were fearless. You're like, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing.
Gonna do this. And the thing is, like, I never looked back. Like, thinking about how I was then with as much as I didn't know, like, I was never questioning myself, which I have no idea where that came from.
Well, your father's an entrepreneur, right?
Yes. Yeah, he is. And he's always been like, the business advisor in the back of my head, and still continues to talk to me on a daily basis, for better or worse. But we're each other's like best friends and worst enemies at times. But
right.
Yeah, he definitely was a huge influence
I think it's in your blood, because my father's also an entrepreneur. And, people say, well, how do you know that? I'm like, I don't know. It's like kind of like our table talk sometimes. Like,
right.
Like, he would walk into place and he studied. He said, they've got 5 cents over there. They got 6 cents over there. It's like, he just studies businesses, right?
Totally. You look at things differently, and it becomes you. Mm-hmm.
So I remember that week when we went through the Tuck program with WeBank together, and you had 3 major things happening. You were finalizing your brand. Mm-hmm. You were negotiating with the bank on a massive manufacturing space.
Yep.
And you were working on a major deal with a major food distributor for retail. Yep. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was a big week.
It was plus you were trying to basically get your MBA in a week. Is the information that they were throwing at us, right?
Absolutely.
Intensive.
Yeah.
So tell us about those major steps, and how you made the decisions, how you made them quickly, confidently, and really going through those 3 major things: dealing with a bank and getting space, solidifying your brand, and then really landing a huge deal, negotiating a huge deal for distribution.
Yeah. So, with the bank at that point in time, we were really at a crossroads, because I had taken from where I was in my small commercial kitchen renting space. I went to a conference to see if this concept I created was something that could be scaled and accepted in the larger retail stores and platforms. And it was accepted by 90 different organizations across the country. And so it was, at the time, we couldn't really produce because we were in such a small space. And it was more of a validation of concept for the brand, for the products, for the entity that I thought had legs. And it solidified that. And it was more than just this small space or small independent space where we could sell. And so I knew that because of that conference, this had a big runway, and we needed to be able to produce. And so prior to going to Tuck, I had searched the country for an operating system and a manufacturing plant to make our products for us. But it didn't happen because our products are so unique to the industry that it calls for a unique process. And back then I was like, well, I'm going to pay you. Like, why can't you figure this out? Like, you're making food. Why can't you make my food? But now I get it. If you're not set up with that process step in place, and you're trying to change something in a manufacturing plant, it doesn't really work. And then also we had so many certifications because we're keto, we're paleo, we're gluten-free, we're grain-free, we're non-GMO, we're kosher. We have all of these restrictions about what we allow in our products, and for a reason. But because we had so many restrictions, there wasn't a plant that could abide by those rules. And so I knew, well, I don't have dietary restrictions. I'm not intolerant to gluten or anything like that. A lot of our consumers are. And if I was going to put my brand on something that I'm selling to people all over the country, I wanted to be able to make sure that there really wasn't any gluten in it, or it was made to the highest standards without any kind of, alleviations or just sidestepping some protocols that I think were important, but someone else did it. And I didn't want to have to worry about it. And so I knew, for me, keeping my hands around this process from sourcing to shipping and everything in between, that was really the only way forward. And so with that, I knew we had to build our plant. And we actually looked all around the country, my dad and I, and there was a plant that opened up about 25 minutes away from where I live and about 15 minutes away from my dad lives. So it was like very much stars aligned. This is the right place. But we needed a large sum of money to secure that and buy it, and then also buy the equipment and then pay for all the renovations. And so, going back to what you're talking about with the bank, that's really why we needed to do it, was to really even bring this dream to a reality. That was the next step necessary. And so we purchased a 44,000 square foot plant. And at the time, we only had 100 retail stores buying from us. And like, these 100 retail stores were small mom and pop stores. There weren't any major chains. So really no promises around the fact, like, this is actually going to work. We had the conference that gave us the confidence that these people would buy, but we didn't actually have POs because it just doesn't work like that in this industry.
Right.
So it was a huge leap of faith, and it was a huge leap of faith for the next 2.5 years, because that's how long it took before we could actually move in and start producing. And so, yeah, that was a huge step for us, but another pivotal moment for the business to grow from where we were to where we are and where we're going. It also allows us unlimited, well, not unlimited because there's always a limit, but I mean, we're still at under capacity for our production plant. We still have so much more room to grow and so much ahead of us that we're not going to be limited by our own space. And so it really set us up well in the beginning for future growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then let's see, what was the other one? There was the deal with Sodexo we were working through. And so that was actually a result of the women-owned business organization that we're both a part of, WeBank. I met David, who was at that point the buyer for our products at Sodexo, and he had fallen in love with who we are as a company and our products that we offer, and thought it would be a great fit for the Sodexo customers. And so, we were negotiating contracts at that time, and luckily everything worked out well, and he set us up in their system. And it was a huge first really step in the food service world for us to be able to get involved with such a large corporation so early and at a young point in the company, that it again was another pivotal step. And it's really quite funny because outside of Sodexo, our first major retail customer was Walmart, and that happened pretty soon after that as well. But if you look at the natural food world, which we're very much a part of, that's very much backwards for this industry. Usually you go down the Whole Foods route first, and you talk to the natural stores, and you eventually get to conventional. But because we had just built this huge manufacturing plant, we didn't have the luxury of saying no. And it was just, if anyone was interested in anything we had to sell, we jumped on it because we didn't have the choice. And nor do we really know what was really going to work in each setting. So it's been a couple years of figuring that out and kind of refining our product offerings at these large retailers. But it's, just you learn as you go, and in making these decisions, I probably got this from my dad, but like I just gather the best information I can at this given point in time and make the best decision that I think I can make, and then go forward knowing that it's not going to be a final decision. I think a lot of people get paralyzed by the fact that if you make a decision today, you can't change it, or it's going to ruin the company, or it's going to derail what you've done in the past. And I just don't think that's true. I mean, I think there's a lot to say about just revising the plan and not getting so focused and committed to one line of thinking, because not only does your business ebb and flow, so do the people you work around you, so do you, like, so does your life. And having the ability to be flexible and make those changes, I think, will stimulate rapid growth for anyone.
That's so good. That is so good and so helpful to hear and be reminded of, because you just making a decision is progress and movement.
Right.
And
exactly.
You won't know maybe until day 22 or year 22 if it was the right decision, right?
Right, exactly. You just have to believe that everything happens for a reason, and you're not haphazardly making decisions, right? You have information, you have proof, you have evidence, you have whatever you need to make a call. But getting paralyzed and being unable to make a call only like hurts yourself.
How did it feel being entering into a market that was a growing space in the food and beverage industry? And how does it feel now with all the different types of variety of options out there?
Yeah, I love this industry. I mean, to be fair, I haven't been a part of any other industry. So, but it is a phenomenal industry, and one that is very supportive. From day one, I think, again, I got very fortunate in meeting the right people. And I think a lot has to do with surrounding yourself with really smart people and people that have your best interest at heart. Because of course there's bad people out there. And of course, that's happened to me also. I'm not saying it didn't, but I got very fortunate about getting involved with a group of people that not only knew the industry well, but helped educate me and guide me through our beginning stages and our growth years. And it's fun. I mean, this year's been different because of COVID, but before, there's like conferences you go to and you get involved in, and I'm very much like an extrovert. Like I get my energy from other people, and just like thinking about that setting, I've got chills, like it's just like where I get my energy from for the business. But it's always evolving, which is the best part about it. And that's why we base our brand in just creating healthy and delicious baked goods and snacks. Because, while I started this because I did a paleo challenge 9 years ago, and we are paleo, we do make paleo products, but we also make products that are gluten-free. We also make products that are keto. We also make products that are kosher and non-GMO. And they have all these other attributes and benefits for our consumers and for myself. But the point is that the industry in general continues to evolve and continues to refine and reflect and understand what's working and what's not working, and it ebbs and flows. And especially given COVID, there's been so many different changes and focuses over the last year. But it's great. It's a really good industry. What I didn't know is there's a less than 1% chance of success in this industry for startup.
Wow.
So
when did you learn what part of the game?
Only about 3 years ago, which is probably a good thing, because if I knew that much before, I wouldn't have.
Like, oh.
Yeah, probably not going to work. So yeah. My lawyer told me that he's one of the top lawyers in this food space. He's actually also one of our investors was our first investor and is a part of our board and a very dear friend. But, he was like, I remember meeting you. And, I didn't think you should build this plant. I didn't think you should do that. And you've pretty much done everything I didn't think you should do. And you've still lived to tell about it. And you're doing such a fantastic job. And that's when he enlightened me with the success rate. So, it was crazy. It's because there's so many people out there looking to live a healthier, better lifestyle and trying to find products and ways to do it, which is a great thing. Overall, from humanity's standpoint, that evolution is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are so right that, you sleep better, your brain fog is gone, your energy levels are better when you really do have the right healthy ingredients in your body, which is that's a huge purpose, a huge why.
Mm-hmm.
And, I remember when we were at conferences and you had, like the little suitcase caddy with it was like a little cooler that had all the products in it. And you were, demonstrating and giving them out to people and trying to really network and just your tenacity. And not only your tenacity, but your, the way that you just approach things. You were never too pushy. You were never like, well, you guys need to eat this. Why are you eating that? It was never like that. It was just
right.
something I believe in and it tastes good. And someone once told me that when you're looking for your avatar, your ideal client, your client is actually you. Your dream client is you. And
Absolutely.
that is exactly, you are selling to people that are looking for that healthy option so they can kick everybody's ass at the gym.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
Totally. And now in our world, keep up with the kids and not pull your hair out when they're
right now. It's like, can we just just put a handful of something in our mouth that keeps us going, right? As moms.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Totally.
Okay, so what does the company look like today? And then I want to talk about your recent transition and how you made that decision.
Yeah, well, so and going back to where we were at Tuck, I was going through a branding. That was really the first branding. But today we've actually finished our second rebranding, and we finished that pretty much right before COVID hit, which was kind of ideal because we redid our website and upped our packaging and really came forth on the shelf. So when, going back to 2015, when I was initially doing the branding, the company's called Base Culture. In 2015, no one knew what base culture was. We're still very small relative to the entire industry, but we're growing. But back then, really no one knew us, but people knew what a brownie was and people knew what banana bread was. And so, on average, you have about 3 seconds at the most for someone to see your product when they're walking by the shelf. And our products are all frozen because there's no preservatives in them. So you even have a glass barrier, which decreases the amount of attention you get. And also it's shopping for bread and brownies in the frozen aisle, which doesn't come to mind unless you are familiar with the health food industry and understand that no preservatives mean less shelf life. And so they need to be frozen. So you have all of these things working against you. And we're entering retail for the first time. So I was like, there's no way I can make base culture the biggest thing on this package because no one's going to pick it up. No one will know what that is. So I was like, okay, number one, the biggest thing on here, the name of the product, get someone interested, get someone over there looking at the product. Number two, a picture, because people remember pictures more than they remember words. And so with Base Culture, our logo, we have a mammoth, and because, going paleo, playing on that whole thing. And so I was like, okay, the picture of the mammoth got to be the second biggest thing. And number three, the name. And then number four, all of the attributes, why are you going to buy it? And so that was really the strategy I had in developing the package. Could have that been right or wrong? I have no idea. That's what made sense to me, right? And so for, like you said, you're your best consumer. If that would grab my attention, my friends, my family, then let's try it out. And that took us all up until last year, and really over the last, since 2019, we had been building our leadership team. So we brought on a COO/CMO, we brought on a CFO, we brought on a VP of sales. And that was all while I was pregnant with my first child. No, actually, that was after I had her. So we were searching while I was pregnant. And then we brought them on right after I had her because I had a small meltdown in between those two things. But
that's good.
yeah, it happens. So I was very thankful and ready for the leadership team to really take a lot of the responsibilities off of my shoulders, especially as my family started growing. And really you get to a certain point in your business where you realize that you're not the best person anymore for that job, which it's a great thing. Like, someone asked me, because I just recently transitioned out of the CEO role and now I'm just formally known as the founder. And someone asked me, how did you put your ego aside to step down? I was like, well, I don't really view it as stepping down, and I don't really have an ego about it at all. Like, I think it's a great thing that I have been fortunate enough to get this company to a place where I have the ability to hand it to someone.
Yes.
And not only do I have the ability, like someone wants to do this, like that's so exciting. That's like, for me, is such a huge accomplishment and a compliment for the business that it's has this life that's living outside of me, because for so long it was just me and my dad and my and my brothers and sisters, because I have so many, and we would call them and they would help me. I have like friends and family, and it's gotten to a point where it's living now, and it is this entity, and it's not day-to-day gripping fear of, is something going to happen tomorrow that's going to end everything? And it's such a freedom in that, to be able to take a little bit of a breath. That I'm not saying that I don't freak out, because I do. I think everyone does.
No, but hiring a CEO for your business is such a huge step in your business. It's amazing. There's a larger plumbing company in this area, and it's all about him. He was the practitioner, with the plunger that grew this huge brand. And he, a few years ago, hired a CEO, really hired a CEO. And he's like, it's the best thing I could have ever done for my business and for my life. And, when you were able to hire those experts around you to support you and keep your vision and your dream on the day-to-day going, and then you have the right key performance indicators coming to you to really check in on the business and manage the business. It's a great chapter to get to. Congratulations. That is huge for you.
It totally is. Thank you. It's
really is. I'm so proud of you. I am.
Thank you.
You told me that on like our little, beginning conversation before we hit record. I was like, yes. Awesome.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, and then the lady we have that's now the CEO, she was our CMO that we hired. Or she was the COO/CMO, so operating officer and marketing officer. She came to us from Siggy's Yogurt and had been the marketing officer there for, I think, 4 years. And then, she's extensive experience in the industry, and she's been with us since 2019. And we've gotten to a place where, her and I think alike. We, envision the business the same way. We're talking the same way. We strategize the same way. We actually even taste the same way, which is interesting. Like, our R&D specialist, she'll send us both separate samples, because she actually lives in Connecticut. And so, and I'm in Tampa. And
facilities in Tampa, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so but she'll send us both samples. We'll try them both. We'll send our notes separately, and then the R&D lady will come back and she's like, it was like identical. And
crazy.
But that's so comforting, knowing that that's the business is in hands that is very similar to my own.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the CEO search, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are at that point in their business. And like you said, I don't know if it's ego. It's just a matter of, I think sometimes whenever you hire a new position in your company, it's a matter of, okay, well, if I let go of this, then what will I do? What will validate me? What will be my value here? What will be my contribution? And you don't know until you grow to the next thing. And that's how you get bigger and better and grow personally, right?
Totally.
So it sounds like she was the CMO, COO. So you groomed internally, and then you found those to fill her position, the CMO and COO to fill her position?
So we actually hired a director of operations. So it wasn't a
Right.
COO exactly, but it was what we needed. And we're really viewing and this is just unique to our business. It's really, we have the brand operating at once and we have the manufacturing. And honestly, in this industry, that's usually two businesses. So we're literally looking at this as two businesses operating under the umbrella of Base Culture.
Okay.
And so the director of operations is really the person running the roost at the manufacturing plant. And then we have Heidi, who's our CEO now, and she's overseeing both brand and manufacturing, which is what I was doing prior to. But that has taken that responsibility away from her as the COO. And then with the marketing aspect, we did bring on another marketing individual last year who has taken a lot of responsibilities from Heidi in that regard as well. She still is the leader of marketing. I think she'll always be that way because it's like in her blood. It's, how she was brought up in this industry. So I think she'll always have that final say on it. But we do have a team now under her that is more running that part of the business.
Okay, got it. So when was your aha moment of, okay, I need a CEO. I need to do this?
About a month before my baby was born, my second baby.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. And honestly, it was encouraged by our board also. And
Okay, that's helpful.
yeah, and our board is phenomenal. It's two guys and, definitely have my best interest at heart. And they came to me just, putting it on the table, saying, what do you think about this? What do you see yourself, or how do you see yourself in the next year? What position for Base Culture? How do you see it evolving? We know you're having this baby, and they're so supportive about like family growth and everything like that. And so it was more around, what do you think is the best route for Base Culture? And we're here to support that. And so that really got me thinking. And, with that, I went back to them and, I think this is the way forward. I think this is not only for Base Culture, but for myself, and earlier you were talking about like, well, how do you validate yourself now that you're out of that CEO role? How do you find that? And honestly, that's a great question. And I think people that are asking themselves that are really looking more internally towards what the next chapter of their lives looks like. It's not just about the business, it's about your entire life, because for so long with Base Culture, I mean, before my first baby was born, I was working like 14 hours a day, just any waking moment you spend thinking about it. And not that I don't think about it now, I do, absolutely. I actually, our CEO, our Heidi, our CEO, I sent her an email like at 6:30 this morning. She's like, I don't really think this is in the job description of a founder. So I was like, I don't know how to turn it off yet.
Right.
And it's hard. It's so hard to be able to just trust. It's blind trust. And the only way you can do it, and I'm still working on it, is to just believe that you have the right people in place and believe that they're doing their job to move the peg forward or move the boulder up the hill just a little bit farther. And let go. And because if I'm, and what I keep telling myself, right? I mean, because this is still new. This is like week 3, I think, of this transition. So like brand spanking new.
Right.
But like if I'm the one to always tap her on the shoulder and ask her, what about this? What about this? What about this? Then she's not going to be able to step up and think about that for herself. But quite honestly, she's most likely already thinking it.
Right.
And so it's just probably annoying for her, but like for my mind, like,
Well, and you are encouraging her to have that confidence and be autonomous and to really grow and become that role for her and what that means to her.
exactly.
And that's really hard. It's really hard whenever you have any new person start.
Right.
Some people have a harder time delegating and checking in, and a lot of extreme micromanagers out there for sure.
Oh yeah,
If
absolutely.
you really, exactly like you just said, if you just believe and trust you have the right person there and step back and let them fully develop and be autonomous, and it'll make them so much more confident in their role.
So much more confident. And if like you think about the future 3 months from now, I'm not going to want to I don't want to be that person to have to remind her to do things. Like if she's going to own this role and she's going to do this role successfully, she's got to do that. She's got to become that person. And so if in the very beginning, if I'm constantly tapping her on the shoulder, asking her about things, like I'm getting in my own way of letting that happen. And so I know time will prove itself to be successful or not, not that I don't think she will. I think she's going to be phenomenal, but time will give me more confidence in letting go of the reins more and more and becoming that founder. And it's so funny, like the times she'll be like, Jordann, you don't need to tell me this. I'm like, I know.
Like, I know,
just
but
like humor me.
Can I just say it for fun?
I know. I just need to say it out loud because it's in my head.
I so get it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, and like your next chapter, like who even knows? The sky is the limit, really.
Exactly. And like the thing is, and when we were transitioning, Heidi was like, well, where do you want this to go for you? Where do you want your future to be with base culture? And what do you want to be involved in? And you step back, and what I truly enjoy, what I get my fulfillment in base culture, it's not running the day-to-day business. It's not, that's like triggering for me, and I don't want that. I would much rather be out there telling the story, doing this with you, having the time and the space and the mental capacity to be able to do this. I mean, because before, I haven't really done my makeup in like a year because of COVID, and you just don't leave your house, but like there's just no time to do anything. And to have the space to tell the story, to share, to go out, do PR, do work like that. And that's where I thrive. And that's where I find my happiness. And so letting go of the day-to-day management will allow that for me. And so for myself, and I know, all of your listeners have different paths forward, but that's where I think that's what gets me excited. And so for me, that's how I know it's probably the right choice.
Right.
And it comes naturally. It's not something that I have to force or think about. It's just, this is who I am. The base culture was built on my story, and that's going to continue no matter who's the CEO. And so let's embrace that and see where it goes.
It's so good. So tell us, how many retailers today? What are we looking at as far as size, where we can find you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so we're in about 10,000 stores nationally. And yeah, all of this has like really happened over the last 3 years because we didn't move into our plant until 2017. Yeah, so it's really, been a little bit over 3 years of just rapid growth, but we're about 10,000 stores with 40,000 different points of distribution. So, one given store can have 4 different products or something along the lines of that. And we're also online. Our website is baseculture.com, and we have all of our products listed there. And we're in stores like Albertsons, Sprouts, Whole Foods, Kroger, Walmart, all of your major retailers. We're working on Target. Hopefully that happens this year.
Awesome.
Putting it out there in the universe.
Great.
We're continuing to grow in that regards, but and we're also in independent stores. So actually on our website we have a store locator. You can go to baseculture.com, just type in your area code, and then it'll show you the stores around you and what products they have. And then we're also on Amazon and some of the online listings if you're subscribed to like Hungry Root or any other food service just subscription programs. We also work with a few.
Isn't Thrive one of those?
Yeah, we're talking. So Thrive is starting to work on their frozen category. And so we actually have a call with them. Today's the 19th, in 2 days. So hopefully that works out. Yeah.
Good luck with that. That's awesome. That's great. So I remember when you were designing the space, you did a mural. Didn't you do a mural or something?
Yeah.
Remind me what it was or is.
Yeah, it's a mural in it was my old office. It says never give up. And that's just a mantra that it's actually kind of funny. It's a mantra. I'll finish that thought first, but a mantra that I live by. Everything in my life I've either overcome or figured out a way. The whole concept of a door closing, a window opening. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but if you don't give up, if you continue to persevere, if you continue to push forward and just let things unfold the way that they're gonna unfold, you'll figure it out. And in figuring it out might be closing up shop or closing the business or, changing direction or pivoting completely. But that might be the right thing for you. And so it's just the idea of perseverance without hesitation continues to be my mindset. And it stems from when I was, I think, 7 years old. I think I was 7. However old you are when you're in second grade. So you would know that more than I do. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, I was running and I was in a track race when I was in second grade, and I trained, with my dad around running around the block, and it was like a 400-yard dash or something like that. It was around the school building. And instead of just putting me with the second graders, they put me, because I was the only one doing that race, they put me with third graders. And I remember getting so nervous because I was just training to be like, the second grader. Like,
Right.
what?
Right.
This game day change. Like, what is happening?
Right.
And I was short. Like, I'm 5'11" now, but I wasn't that tall then.
I was going to ask you that. I was like, were you tall back then?
No. I think it happened like in middle school. I shot up, but I remember I turned the last corner and my dad was going to strategically stand in this spot at the last corner and cheer me on. And that's when I was going to see him. And I remember that I was like sprinting this whole race, and I got to that corner and I looked at my dad and I just had like tears running down my face because I was like dying inside. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And he just looked at me and he said, "Do not give up." Like, I literally have chills. Like, I just remember that if it was yesterday.
I know. I love it. Oh my
And
God.
I literally, like, our plan was, the first runner was going to get to a spot and I would go to her shoulder so she could see me. And then I was going to cross behind her and run. And I'm like 7. So I still remember this like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I did exactly what our plan was. I ended up winning the race.
Yay!
And so, like, obviously life doesn't always work out like a second grader's race, but
I'm telling you, it really is. That stuff sticks with you. Really, it does.
It does. And even if I lost that race, even if it didn't work out and we weren't celebrating, whatever, giving up and stopping at that last corner or finishing the race as strong as I could, that's what makes all the difference.
So true. I love that. I wrote that down, the perseverance without hesitation.
Yeah.
I like that. We'll do a little quote for social media with you on it around
that.
Perfect. Okay, good. So, well, I was going to ask you about your mantra, your words to live by, and it sounds like, do not give up, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. So anything else to put out to the universe besides Target and Thrive? Anything else we can do for you or how we can support you? I'm going to obviously get all your yummies for sure.
Yeah, just, follow us on Instagram. We're Base Culture on Instagram. Check us out. Give us a try. We'd love to hear your feedback. What do you think about the products? We have a lot of new products coming out this year. Can't tell you what they are yet, but check your stores, check our website. They're going to start rolling out soon. And I think they're fantastic. So
do you have a favorite now?
Yes, actually. So it's funny because like I eat this stuff all the time.
Right.
But like I change my favorites. I ebb and flow through the product lineup. So right now I'm really big into the cinnamon raisin bread, which I think is just like amazing for breakfast, and it makes the house smell so good in the morning.
Yes.
And it's like just everything you could want.
Do you put ghee on it, or do you put butter on it, or do you put nothing?
I just put butter on it. I toast it, put butter on it, and my almost 2-year-old loves it too. Like she'll eat it every day. Yeah, so it's great for the kids. And then my snack go-to right now is an apple and almond butter, specifically the gingerbread. But the maple is always high on the list also. Gingerbread almond butter? Yes. Yeah. So there's actually a lot of discounts right now because it's January and everything is like, new year, new you. So if you go to Whole Foods, Publix, Sprouts, there's a ton of discounts out in retail for both the breads and the almond butters. I think it's like $2 off or something like that. Oh, awesome. Good to know. Yeah. All right, great. Well, I honestly, I'm so happy we had this time together because first of all, I missed you and I always think about you and your growth and
Yeah, I really wanted to hear the latest. Congrats on the CEO.
Thank you.
Congrats on baby number 2.
Thank
It's
you.
so wonderful watching you and staying connected with you and watching you build this brand, build this company, and then fall in love and get married and have these beautiful babies. And, I know one day we'll have our time where we get to connect at one of the event conferences or one of the conferences in the future and really catch up. But
absolutely,
everything you shared with us today was so, so amazing. So amazing. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you having me.
Of course. Best to you, Jordann. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
Wow, what an episode. Did you learn something new? I hope so. I am so happy you were able to be here with us today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a review and I will be sure to read it and respond to you. Also, if you'd like to email me, my email address is yourock@ievolveconsulting.com. Hit subscribe, and every Tuesday you'll get notification when the next episode drops. We really have some amazing interviews and tips in the future. Anything you need, I'm here for you. I want you to keep your momentum. I want to help you stay accountable. I want you to stay inspired. I want you to evolve. So please let me know what you need, and I'd love to hear from you. Take care until next time.